On the busy streets of New York with a golden light when Alex Johnson left the office of his company, the famous restaurant chain Soulful Flavors. At 28, he was a successful young millionaire, having inherited his late grandfather's culinary empire. However, behind that facade of wealth and prestige, Alex carried a growing weight of dissatisfaction. As Alex walked down the crowded sidewalk, he took in the hurried faces of the people around him. So many different lives, so many dreams and silent struggles. He felt increasingly disconnected from that reality, trapped in a bubble of privilege that prevented him from experiencing the true joys and challenges of life. His romantic relationships were an example of this. Ever since he inherited the family fortune, it seemed impossible to find someone who loved him for who he really was rather than what he had. Women approached, seduced by the shine of money, only to reveal themselves to be self-serving and false when they realized that it would not meet their materialistic expectations. Alex sighed, remembering his most recent heartbreak. Jessica, a beautiful model who swore she loved him unconditionally, had simply disappeared when he refused to buy her $1 million apartment in Manhattan. The betrayal still burned in his chest, fueling his growing disbelief in true love. While walking aimlessly, Alex spotted his best friend, David, waving to him from a table in a charming outdoor cafe. David was one of the few real friends Alex had, someone who had known him since childhood and never judged him for his wealth. "Hey Alex, over here," David shouted, catching the attention of some people at neighboring tables. Alex smiled and joined him, sitting at the wrought iron table. "Thanks for coming, man. You look like a walking zombie lately," David said, studying Alex's tired face. "That's my life," Alex replied with a sigh. "It seems like the more money I have, the emptier I feel." David frowned, worried, still thinking about that viper Jessica. Alex nodded. She was just another in a long list of disappointments in love. "Sometimes I wonder if I will ever find someone who truly loves me, and not for my fortune." A silence fell between them as David reflected. Suddenly, his eyes lit up with a bold idea. "What if you disguised yourself?" Alex looked at him, confused. "Like this?" "Think about it," David continued excitedly. "What if you pretended to be an ordinary guy with no money? You could work as a waiter in one of your own restaurants and see if anyone falls in love with you, without knowing who you really are." The idea sounded absurd, but at the same time, intriguing. Alex pondered for a moment, imagining what it would be like to live a simple life, away from the spotlight and expectations that came with his wealth. "This is crazy, Dave," he said, finally shaking his head. "But maybe that's exactly what I need." David smiled, seeing determination shine in his friend's eyes. "So what do you say? Are you ready to become a commoner for a while?" Alex took a deep breath, feeling a wave of adrenaline course through his veins. For the first time in a long time, he had hope of finding true love. "I'm ready," he replied with a confident smile. "Let's do this." That afternoon, the two friends began to hatch a bold plan that would change Alex's life forever. He would leave his millionaire identity behind and infiltrate his own restaurant empire, all in hopes of finding a soulmate who loved him for who he truly was, not what he owned. The idea of going undercover and working incognito at his own restaurant seemed increasingly appealing to Alex. After the conversation with David, he felt reinvigorated, as if a new opportunity in life was within his reach. That same night, the two friends began to draw up a detailed plan. The first step would be to get a new, discreet identity for Alex. David suggested that he use a fake name such as Adam Miller and wear simple clothes to blend in among the restaurant staff. Alex agreed, excited at the prospect of leaving his old self behind, even if temporarily. Over the next few days, Alex dedicated himself to studying Soulful Flavors' operational procedures, determined to pose as a genuine member of the team. He learned about the service flow, main dishes on the menu, and customer service policies. To his surprise, he discovered that there was much more complexity behind the scenes than he imagined. Finally, after weeks of meticulous preparation, everything was ready. Alex said goodbye to his life as a millionaire and headed to Soulful Flavors in Manhattan, where he would begin his journey as the mysterious Adam Miller. The restaurant was a welcoming establishment in the heart of the city, with a rustic and cozy decor. When Alex first walked in through the back doors wearing worn jeans and a simple t-shirt, no one suspected his true identity. The restaurant manager, a burly man named Frank, greeted him with a firm handshake. "Welcome to the team, Adam. We're happy to have you on board." Alex nodded, surprised at how naturally the words came out of his mouth. "Thank you, I look forward to getting started." Frank introduced him to the rest of the team and showed him the locker rooms, where Alex would store his personal belongings during his shift. He quickly changed into the standard waiter uniform and joined the others in the main hall. His eyes immediately fell on a beautiful, dark-haired woman who walked between the tables, directing the waiters with calm authority. There was something captivating about his confident posture and warm smile as he interacted with customers. "That's Mary Williams, the general manager," Frank murmured beside her. "She's the boss around here." Mary was even more impressive up close. Her brown eyes shone with determination, and Alex could feel an inner strength in her that went beyond her outward appearance. He found himself wanting to get to know her better. Over the next few weeks, Alex immersed himself in his new life as a waiter. He learned how to balance trays, take orders efficiently, and deal with demanding customers, all with a polite smile on his face. To his surprise, he began to appreciate the challenges and rewards of that hard work. Mary was a constant presence, overseeing operations with a steady hand, but always a touch of compassion. Alex watched in awe as she calmly solved problems and led her team with respect. There was a quiet strength about her that he found increasingly captivating. Little by little, Alex began to open up to Mary, sharing little stories about his fictional life as he sought to get to know her better. He discovered that she came from a humble family and had fought hard to get where she was. Her determination was inspiring, as was her unwavering belief that all people deserve to be treated with dignity, regardless of their background. As they got closer, Alex felt a connection growing between them. Mary treated him with a respect he rarely encountered in her privileged social circles. She saw him as an equal, judging him by his character rather than his wealth or status. And for Alex, that was more precious than any material treasure. However, behind that facade of strength, he began to glimpse the emotional scars that Mary carried. There was a wariness in her eyes when she talked about relationships, as if she had been hurt enough in the past. Alex wondered what could have hurt this incredible woman so much, and wished he could heal her wounds if she would let him. As the days turned into weeks, Alex found himself increasingly immersed in this new reality. He was beginning to question whether he really needed all that wealth to be happy. Maybe, just maybe, the key to true happiness lay in that simple restaurant, in Mary's kind eyes, and in the possibility of genuine love. Over the next few months, Alex and Mary's friendship blossomed into an ever-deepening bond. Working side by side at Soulful Flavors has brought them closer together in ways Alex never imagined possible. He felt mesmerized by Mary's quiet strength, her compassion for others, and her unwavering dedication to the restaurant. For Mary, however, the journey toward confidence was an arduous one. Although she enjoyed Alex's company, she couldn't deny the echoes of a dark past that still haunted her. Her previous relationships had been marked by betrayal and disappointment, leaving emotional scars that she struggled to overcome. One night, after a particularly busy shift, Mary invited Alex to her modest Brooklyn apartment for a cup of tea. He readily accepted, eager for another opportunity to connect with her beyond the restaurant walls. Mary's apartment was cozy, decorated with simple but cozy furniture. As she prepared tea, Alex looked at the framed photos on the shelves, records of a life full of challenges and achievements. "So Adam," Mary said, handing him a steaming cup. "Tell me more about yourself. It seems there is still a lot of mystery behind those eyes." Alex smiled, delighted by her frankness. He knew he needed to be careful about what he shared, but he also wanted to be as honest with her as possible. "Well, as you know, I come from a humble family," he began. "My parents always worked hard to support us, and I learned from an early age the value of effort and determination." Mary nodded, her brown eyes shining with genuine interest. "I understand this struggle. My mother was an incredible woman who did everything she could to raise me alone after my father abandoned us. There was a shadow of pain in her voice, and Alex felt a surge of protection for this strong woman who had faced so many challenges. "I'm sorry about that," he said softly. "It couldn't have been easy." Mary shrugged, but he could see the wounds were still there. "It wasn't, but it taught me to never depend on anyone but myself. Men always disappoint, don't they?" Those words hit Alex like a punch in the gut. He could imagine the abuse and betrayal that had shaped that bitter belief in Mary. He wished he could hug her, comfort her, show her that not all men were the same. "I disagree," he replied gently. "There are good men out there, Mary. Men who value the strength and courage of a woman like you." She looked at him skeptically, but there was a spark of hope in her eyes that warmed Alex's heart. At that moment he knew he would do anything to heal this incredible woman's emotional wounds. Over the next few weeks, Alex dedicated himself to showing Mary that she could trust him. He treated her with unusual respect, valuing her opinions and admiring her inner strength. Little by little, the walls built around Mary's heart began to crack, allowing Alex a glimpse of the incredible woman behind them. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Mary shared the story of her last abusive relationship, which had left her emotionally destroyed. Alex listened to her patiently, his heart breaking with every word as she described the humiliations and violence she had suffered. "I swore I would never let a man treat me that way again," she concluded, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "That's why I've been so harsh, so suspicious. I can't bear to be hurt again." Alex held her hand gently, conveying all the affection and understanding he could through that simple gesture. "I promise I would never, ever do anything to hurt you, Mary. You deserve to be loved and respected unconditionally." His words seemed to reach a deep part inside her, and Mary looked at him with a vulnerability that broke Alex's heart. At that moment he knew he had found his soulmate, the woman he had waited his entire life for. And deep in his heart, the certainty grew that he would need to reveal his true identity soon. He could no longer bear lying to the woman he loved, even if it put everything at risk. Mary deserved to know the real Alex, with all his complexities and secrets. The journey was just beginning, and Alex knew he would face many challenges ahead. But with Mary by his side, he was ready to face any obstacle, because true love knows no insurmountable barriers. The next few days were a roller coaster of emotions for Alex. As his connection with Mary deepened, he felt the weight of his lie growing ever greater. How could he continue to deceive the woman he loved? Mary deserved to know the truth about who he really was. However, the fear of losing her was paralyzing. Alex feared that by revealing his true identity as a millionaire, Mary would see him as yet another lying, self-serving man, only reinforcing her bitter beliefs about relationships. He couldn't bear the thought of disappointing her like that. While struggling with this inner conflict, Alex realized that Mary was also going through a transformation. There was a growing softness in her eyes as she watched him, a glow that suggested her defenses were slowly dissolving. One night after they closed the restaurant, Mary surprised him with an unexpected request. "Adam, can I ask you something?" she said, wringing her hands nervously. Alex nodded, his heart racing. "Of course, what is it?" "I know it's weird, but could you help me do some shopping? I need some things for the apartment, and it would be nice to get a second opinion." He blinked, surprised by the casual request. However, when he saw the vulnerability in Mary's eyes, he knew that the invitation meant much more than it seemed. It was a sign of trust, a step towards letting him into her personal life. "It would be a pleasure," he replied with a warm smile. The following weekend, they visited several furniture and decoration stores, laughing and joking like old friends. Alex reveled in every moment with Mary, watching how she became lighter and more relaxed away from the pressures of work. At a home improvement store, Mary approached shyly, holding a beautiful blue ceramic vase. "What do you think of this one?" she asked, her eyes shining. Alex studied the vase, admiring the delicate details of the handmade painting. "It's beautiful," he replied sincerely. "It suits you." Mary blushed slightly, then grimaced. I'm not so sure. It's probably too expensive for me." Without thinking twice, Alex took the vase from his hands. "Let me buy it for you. A gift." She opened her eyes wide, shocked. What? No, Adam, I can't accept. Please, he insisted with a gentle smile. You deserve to have beautiful things around you. For a long moment, Mary just stared at him, as if searching for any trace of falsehood in his face. Then slowly she nodded, her eyes filling with unshed tears. Thank you, she whispered emotionally. No one has ever done anything like this for me before. Alex's heart sank, thinking of all the disappointments and hurts this incredible woman had suffered. He promised himself that he would do everything to cure her, to show that true, selfless love really existed. That night, as they walked home under the twinkling lights of the city, Mary held Alex's hand gently. He felt an electric spark run through his body at that simple touch. Adam, she said softly, thank you for today, for showing me that there are still good men out there. Alex swallowed hard, his emotions threatening to boil over. He wanted to tell her, in that moment, that he wasn't just a good man. He was the man who truly loved her, who would do anything to have her in his life forever. However, the words stuck in his throat. The fear of losing her was very great, so he just squeezed her hand back, hoping that gesture conveyed everything he felt. In the days that followed, Alex noticed a subtle change in Mary. She smiled more easily, her eyes sparkled with a lightness he had never seen before. It was as if a new woman was blossoming before her eyes, free from the fears and constraints of the past. And as Alex watched this transformation, he knew he couldn't put it off any longer. He needed to tell Mary the truth, even if it put everything at risk. She deserved to meet the real man behind the Adam Miller mask and decide if she could still love him. With his heart in his hand, Alex arranged to meet Mary in the park, determined to finally reveal his secret. He only hoped that the love they shared was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. The next few days were emotional torture for Alex. He knew he needed to tell Mary the truth, but the fear of losing her was overwhelming. While working at the restaurant, his eyes constantly searched for her, drawing strength from her warm smile to finally reveal his secret. However, the forces conspiring against them were more powerful than Alex could imagine. Robert Johnson, Alex's father and owner of the Soulful Flavors empire, had found out about his son's disguise and was furious. One morning, Alex was summoned to the company's headquarters, where Robert was waiting for him with a stern expression. The spacious office reflected the power and wealth the Johnson family had accumulated over generations, a stark contrast to the simple life Alex had been leading for the past few months. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Alexander, Robert snapped as soon as Alex entered. "This commoner prank has gone too far." Alex swallowed hard, trying to gather his courage. "Dad, I can explain." "Explain what?" Robert interrupted, his eyes flashing with anger. "That you are wasting your time working as a mere waiter? That you have put our family's reputation at risk with this ridiculous disguise?" "It's not just a disguise," Alex protested, feeling his determination grow. "I finally found something true, Dad. Someone who loves me for who I am, not what I have." Robert let out a bitter laugh. "Are you in love with that insignificant manager?" "Frankly, Alexander, I thought you had more sense than to get involved with an employee." His father's dismissive words hurt Alex deeply. How dare Robert belittle Mary like that? She was an incredible woman, strong and determined, everything he had ever dreamed of in a companion. "Mary is not insignificant," Alex countered, his voice brimming with emotion. "She is the most incredible woman I have ever met, and I love her more than anything." Robert shook his head in disbelief. "Love? You barely know her, foolish boy. That fantasy has gone too far. Either you return to reality and take your place in the company, or you can consider yourself disinherited." Alex's heart froze at the implied threat. He knew that his father was capable of keeping his word, taking everything he owned and leaving him with just the clothes on his back. However, the prospect of losing Mary was even more terrifying. "I can't just abandon her, Dad," Alex said, his voice shaking. "Mary deserves to know the truth about who I am." "Then tell her," Robert snapped, slamming his fist on the table. "And when she inevitably abandons you, I want you to accept the consequences of your foolish actions." Shaken by his father's harsh words, Alex left the office in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Part of him wanted to give in to Robert's demands, returning to his privileged life to avoid further confrontation. However, something much more powerful compelled him to fight for his love for Mary. That same afternoon, Alex asked to meet Mary at the park where they usually met. His heart hammered in his chest as he waited for her, mentally rehearsing the words he would need to say. When Mary arrived, smiling as always, Alex felt a wave of panic threatening to overwhelm him. How could he risk losing this wonderful woman who meant everything to him? "Hey, Adam," Mary greeted him with a kiss on the cheek. "Is everything okay? You look a little pale." Alex took a deep breath, seeking courage. It was now or never. "Mary, I need to tell you something," he began, his voice shaking. "Something very important about who I really am." She frowned, worried. "What is it? You can tell me anything, you know that." Staring into those gentle eyes he loved so much, Alex forced himself to continue. "My name isn't really Adam Miller. I am Alexander Johnson, son of Robert Johnson, the owner of Soulful Flavors." For a long moment, Mary just stared at him in shocked silence. Then, when the implications of that revelation finally hit her, she took a step back, shaking her head in denial. "No. Can't be true," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "You've been lying to me all this time." "I know, and I'm sorry," Alex pleaded, stepping forward. "But my feelings for you are real, Mary. I really love you, and I just wanted the chance to prove it." Mary backed away again, raising a hand as if to protect herself. "How can I trust you after that lie?" she said, her voice breaking. "You're just another rich man who played with me." "No, Mary, please," Alex pleaded, feeling her world crumbling around her. "I would do anything for you. I would leave everything behind if you asked me to. Just don't abandon me." However, tears were already flowing freely down Mary's face when she turned and began to quickly walk away. Alex wanted to run after her, beg for her forgiveness, but her legs felt like lead, unable to move. Watching the woman he loved disappear into the park crowd, Alex felt a growing emptiness inside him. He had risked everything for love, only to have his heart shattered. And in that moment of anguish, he wondered if he would ever be able to repair the damage caused by his lie. In the days following the devastating revelation, Alex felt like he was living in an endless nightmare. Everywhere he went, Mary's teary eyes and hurt face haunted him, a constant reminder of the terrible mistake he had made. He tried to return to work at Soulful Flavors, hoping the routine would help him recover. However, every hallway, every table, every smile of the customers seemed to scream Mary's name, reigniting the searing pain in her chest. Frank, the manager, immediately realized something was wrong. "What happened, Adam? Or should I say Alexander?" he asked with a raised eyebrow. Alex sighed, no longer seeing the point in hiding the truth. "I told Mary everything and well, she didn't react well." "I can't blame her," Frank replied frankly. "You deceived her for months, boy. Lies like that hurt no matter what your intentions were." Frank's harsh but sincere words hit Alex hard. He knew the other man was right, but that didn't make the pain any easier to bear. "I just wanted to find true love," he said, his voice breaking. "Mary is the most incredible woman I've ever met. I can't lose her, Frank." The manager studied Alex for a long moment, then sighed. "Look, I'm not going to pretend I understand what's going on in you rich, spoiled people's heads. But I see the way you look at Mary and I know your feelings are real." There was a spark of hope in those words, and Alex clung to it desperately. "What should I do? How can I win her back?" "Well, first you need to give her some time," Frank advised. "Mary is a strong woman, but she is also human. She needs space to process all of this." Alex nodded, understanding the wisdom behind that advice. He would need to be patient and wait for time to heal the wounds his lie had caused. Over the next few weeks, Alex respected Mary's desire for distance. He watched her from afar in the restaurant, admiring her strength and determination even when her eyes were red from crying. Every fiber of his being yearned to comfort her, but he held back, knowing he needed to prove that he had changed. Then one day, Mary surprised him by approaching him during his lunch shift. "Can we talk?" she asked cautiously, her eyes meeting his for the first time in weeks. Alex nodded, his heart hammering in his chest. Sure, anything. They sat down at an empty table, and Alex waited anxiously while Mary gathered her thoughts. I spent a lot of time thinking about everything that happened, she finally began. About who you really are and what that means to us. Alex held his breath, fearing what would come next. I'm not going to lie, Alex. Your lie hurt me deeply, Mary continued, her voice thick with emotion. I trusted you, I opened my heart, and you played with me the whole time. I know, and I regret it bitterly, Alex hastened to say. But I beg you, Mary, believe that my feelings for you were and still are real. I love you in a way I have never loved anyone before. She studied him with a critical eye, as if searching for any trace of falsehood. Then, slowly, his tense shoulders relaxed. I believe you, Mary said in a low voice. But I can't just forget what happened. You need to prove me, Alex. Prove that you're worthy of my trust. Relief flooded Alex's chest, so intense it almost made him dizzy. He had been given a second chance, an opportunity for redemption that he would not waste. I'll do anything, he promised fervently. Whatever you need to do, I'll do it. Just ... don't give up on us. A small smile played on Mary's lips. Well, for starters, you can take me out to dinner somewhere decent. Nothing too fancy, just a normal date between two ordinary people. Alex smiled back, his heart warming at the prospect. You can leave it. A normal meeting is scheduled. In the following days, Alex dedicated himself entirely to winning Mary's heart back. He would surprise her with small romantic gestures, like delivering flowers or making her a special snack during breaks. Little by little, he saw the walls around her heart begin to crumble again. On their first date, they walked hand in hand through Central Park, laughing and talking as if they were old friends. Alex relished every moment with Mary, appreciating her sharp intelligence and witty sense of humor. When the night came to an end, he walked her to the door of her apartment, reluctant to part with her. Thank you for tonight, Mary said softly. It was really good. Alex smiled, reaching up to brush a strand of hair away from her face. No, thanks to you for giving me a second chance. Their eyes met, and Alex felt an electric spark run through his body. Slowly, almost reverently, he leaned in and captured Mary's lips in a soft, promise-filled kiss. When they separated, there were tears shining in Mary's eyes, but also a radiant smile. I love you, Alex, she whispered. And I'm willing to risk my heart one more time, if you are. With those words, Alex knew that it had all been worth it. He had found true love, not only in Mary's arms, but also within himself, and this time nothing would separate them. The following months were a journey of healing and renewal for Alex and Mary. After overcoming the trauma of the initial lie, they dedicated themselves to building a solid relationship based on trust and true love. For Mary, the walk was especially challenging. She had to confront the demons of a dark past, facing deep-rooted fears and insecurities. However, with Alex's unwavering support, she found the strength to free herself from the emotional ties that held her back. Alex, in turn, strived daily to prove his worth and commitment. He opened up completely to Mary, sharing his vulnerabilities and his most intimate dreams. Together, they built a solid foundation of mutual understanding and respect. Amid this journey of self-discovery, they also found a new shared passion helping those less fortunate. Mary had always had a generous heart, and Alex was enchanted by her determination to make a difference in other people's lives. It was then that they came up with the idea of expanding Soulful Flavors not just as a profitable business, but also as a platform to empower those who needed an opportunity in life. With the reluctant support of Robert Johnson, who finally relented in the face of his son's obvious happiness, Alex and Mary launched a culinary training program for young people from underserved communities. They transformed one of the restaurant's kitchens into a learning space where participants could develop culinary and hospitality skills under the tutelage of experienced chefs. The project quickly gained recognition, and Mary became an inspirational figure for the young people participating in the program. She encouraged them to believe in themselves, to pursue their dreams, and to never give up, even when faced with the greatest challenges. For Alex, seeing Mary in that role of mentor and leader was a constant source of pride and admiration. She was the embodiment of strength and resilience, a woman who had overcome so much adversity and now used her experience to light the path for others. In times when they felt discouraged, they supported each other, reminding each other of how much they had overcome to get here. The love they shared was an unshakable fortress, a safe haven amid the storms of life. And as the training program flourished, they saw countless lives transformed. Young people who were once lost found renewed purpose, while others discovered hidden culinary talents that could lead to successful careers. For Alex and Mary, every smile, every story of overcoming was an immeasurable reward. They had found their mission in life to spread love, hope, and opportunity to those who needed it most. One night, as they walked hand in hand through the bright streets of New York, Alex suddenly stopped, pulling Mary into a tight hug. "Thank you," he whispered, his heart overflowing with emotion. "Thank you for accepting me, for believing in me even when I didn't deserve it." Mary smiled, brushing a strand of hair away from his face tenderly. "I'm the one who should thank you, Alex. You taught me what true love is. A love that goes beyond appearances and status, that sees the essence of who we really are." At that moment, under the glow of the city lights, they kissed deeply, sealing a silent pact to remain together forever, facing all the challenges that life presented to them. Months later, in an intimate and emotional ceremony, Alex and Mary were united in marriage. Robert Johnson, now an ally and a proud father, led the celebration with tears in his eyes, grateful to finally see his son fulfilled and happy. As they exchanged vows in front of friends and family, Alex and Mary knew they had found their true home in each other. It no longer mattered the lies of the past or the obstacles they had faced. What mattered was the pure, unconditional love that united them, a bond forged in the flames of adversity and tempered by the determination to never give up.